Tankers, I'm wot Blitz, and today we are going over the VK168-01P, the German Premium Super Heavy. It is really closely related to the VK100-01P. I'll compare those tanks in a little bit, but starting off I will get into the statistics and then show you guys this ace tanker game, as well the armor profile at the end of the video. Now, just a little thing to say, normally I do show 2 replays, but I'm only going to show 1 this game to keep the video a bit shorter, and just because I didn't get submitted a second one, and this replay is so good, so fantastic, that really, if I were to show another replay, it would just ruin how good this game actually was. This is probably going to be the best game you ever see in a Tier 8 match, especially in a German Heavy. But starting off the statistics, this tank has 1,470 hit points, with a view range of 282.5 meters. Now, this tank's hit point pool is not a super large one, but it is quite decent. It's still pretty good for a Tier 8 Heavy. Now, the view range, however, is actually very good. 282.5 is about the same as a T-54 Mod 1, I'm pretty sure, which means you're able to spot mediums as pretty much the mediums spot you. The only difference is that mediums have camouflage, and this tank, as you can guess, probably has about 0 camouflage. Now, the penetration with this gun is 220, giving it a 1928 damage per minute gun, dealing 460 hit points of damage. When running the APCR, your damage goes down to 390, but your penetration goes way up to 260. And high explosive, you get 65 millimeters of penetration with 600 damage, which is insane. So always make sure to use your high explosive on a Borsig or anything that's very lightly armored. Now, the shell velocity is 810, so it actually is a pretty good shell velocity. And you can see that the armor on this tank is already doing its job, as he's bounced every single shell fired at him. Now, with all of these gun statistics put in there, it gives the rate of fire a 4.19, making the reload time 14.31 seconds. Now, the aiming time on this tank is 2.17 seconds. It's actually a very nice aiming time. As you can see, that aiming circle always stays pretty closely in. However, the dispersion is 0.416. So, unfortunately, the dispersion evens out the pretty good aiming time. Now, the depression on this tank is 8 degrees, and it has 25 degrees of gun elevation, which is very good, especially for a tank like this. And this tank, one big downfall is it only turns 21.87 traverse speed on the turret, but this tank weighs 168 tons. Just to give you an example of how heavy that is, the Tier 10 MAUS, the heaviest tank in the game, weighs 188 tons. That is only a 20-ton difference, which is barely anything. That means that if you were to ram pretty much any tank in this game going at 20 kilometers an hour, like a Type 59, you'd still probably take 150, 200 off it. You can see this gun is pretty good, though. Now, if you take a look at this match real quick, it is a 1 versus 5. He's up against, let's see, he's up against an IS-3, a Comet, an SPIC, a Tiger, and a VK30-01D. He's getting flanked, he's getting pretty much beat up all around the map. Getting ricochets on the side, he's already blocked 3,000 damage. That is how good this tank's armor is. Now, back into the statistics real quick, this tank only goes 20 kilometers per hour forward and 15 backwards. Now, backwards, that is very good. Most people underestimate how quick this tank can back up, but that is very quick. Now, the traverse speed isn't the best. It's only 24.30. One of the big advantages of the VK100-01P is its traverse speed is way quicker than that. I'm not sure what it is, but I do know it's quicker. And the effective power to weight ratio is only 9.52, which is just really, really bad for this tank. You can see there's an HE shell 615 into the SPIC. He has now blocked 4,000 damage and dealt 3,300. And finally, this tank has a concealment of 6.1%, which is probably the worst at Tier 8s, I would have to say. But you can see, in total, this tank already is doing excellent. Still pretty much at almost all of its hit points. He's just dealing the damage. If that SPIC is just to barely tap him, he will die. However, he finished him off. 5,200 damage blocked now. If people are shooting high explosive at him, that is how hard it is to penetrate this tank. 400 hit points left. Come on, you can get the Comet, do your average damage. Yes, kills the Comet. 2 tanks left now. 1 shooting high explosive. Don't know why, especially because it's a Tiger. Look at that. Tiger rams him, loses 156 hit points. Now, if I were him, I would kill that Tiger first, as the Tiger is the biggest threat. He is going to aim at him. Come on, can you get it? Can you get it? Oh, he's messing up a bit here. He's got 85 hit points left. Heads right through the gun mantlet. Now he has a VK on his side. Come on, you can angle it up. Yes, you can. 4,500 damage dealt now. 6,140 damage blocked. Gets one shell into that VK. Max rolls him. Now he is ramming the VK, taking 78 off in the ram. 5,155 damage dealt. Ooh, the VK has decided he's going to pen it. No, he's not. Come on, are you going to get it? Come on. Pens him. Dead. And it actually looked like his shell ricocheted and the VK rammed him. So in total, you can see he did 4,300 damage. That is ridiculous. He definitely deserved the mastery there. Total credits, 1,115,000. Not 1,000, 115,000, sorry, my English messed up there a bit. He managed to pick up the Colabanos, the Mastery, the Reseni. He managed to pick up the best medals in the game. Pretty much every medal you want, he managed to pick up. He carried this team the hardest a team could have been carried. This is probably one of the best Tier 8 games you will ever see. KWI, really am giving you a round of applause. This is one of the best games ever. But before I do end this video, I'll go over the armor real quick, as that's what most of you guys probably want to see. So aiming dead on, you can see it's about 290 thick, which is ridiculous. Pretty much no tank's going to penetrate that unless you're running an RHM with heat. Now it does have a weak gun port, you can see 142 thick, but that is a very small target, and you can just wiggle your tank back and forth and pretty much bounce it all the time. The other weak spot is the lower plate, 141 millimeters thick. Now, it is a very weak lower plate, but however, it is a very small lower plate also at the same time, making it very hard to hit that. The cupola is also pretty hard to hit, judging that it's all the way at the top of the tank. That tank will be aiming at you while you're aiming at that cupola. However, the cupola is only about 120 thick. Now, when this tank is effectively angling, its side is about 300 thick, and the front can be angled up to about 306, making that front plate very hard to penetrate. However, you can see that that front plate runs across inside the tank, so if it over angles, you can actually penetrate through the track into the lower plate, and it's only about 188 to 200 thick. So if you are going up against this tank, that is a very big weak spot. Now, when this tank uses its 8 degrees of gun depression, you are pretty much just screwed. That upper plate's 400 thick. Lower plate's about 126, but if it's hiding that tiny little lower plate, you're going to have a very hard time penetrating the tank. The turret is about 233 thick. When it angles its turret's about 250 on the front and about 300 on the sides of it. So really, it's an impenetrable target. It's almost pretty much like aiming at a mouse. Now, the sides of this vehicle, it's about 130 on the sides, completely flat, and the turret is about 185 on the sides. The rear of this tank is 153 on the turret and 120 on the rear of the tank. If you were to actually angle the rear of this tank with the turret, you can actually get that turret up about to 170, which is pretty impressive. But overall, this is a super well armored tank. This is going to be the end of my video, though. If you did like it, make sure to subscribe. Always get the subscribes up, help this channel grow. Hit it up with a like. Tell me what you thought about it in the comments down below. And make sure you join the Discord. I'll leave that in the link below as well. And whether or not this tank is worth it, I'm going to leave that up to you guys, because personally I think the VK100P is so closely related to this vehicle, there's no point to actually get it. That's just my opinion. But that is also up for you guys to decide, because it is quite a bit of money, $50 American and 40 euros. But thanks for watching.